to the continent's mega cities. This was stated by Gabon's President Ali Bongo Ondimba at the 3rd African Climate Week Conference. Bongo said African officials and experts should sharpen their positions they will present at the 27th Annual United Nations Climate Conference to be held in Egypt in November. The 3rd African Climate Meeting is bringing together more than 1,000 government officials and stakeholders in Gabon's capital. They are working to form strong African regional climate responses. The African Climate Week comes as the continent reels from several extreme weather events such as drought in East Africa and the Horn of Africa, sandstorms and extreme heat in West African Sahel region, and destructive flash floods and strong surges including cyclones in Central, Western and Southern Africa. Egypt's foreign minister, who will host the upcoming United Nations conference, lamented that promises made to African countries to help them fight climate change have not been fulfilled. The African Climate Week conference will discuss other critical concerns of the continent, including food security, carbon markets, climate migrants, and coastal resilience. Climate early warning systems, integrated water management to address scarcity, and international cooperation to boost climate actions are also issues to be examined. The White House said South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa and the United States President Joe Biden will hold talk on the 16th of September on a number of issues, including trade and energy. The leaders said in a statement on Thursday that the building on their productive call in April and the U.S.-South Africa Strategic Dialogue in August will discuss opportunities to deepen their cooperation on trade and investment, infrastructure, climate and energy, and health. Contained also in the statement is that the presidents will also confirm their partnerships between their countries and discuss work together to address regional and global challenges. Residents in western Ethiopia says they are living in fear following attacks where at least 50 people have been killed in an area in Oromia region. Local residents say security forces had recently left the area and are blaming members of the Fano militia group for the violence carried out earlier in the week. Houses were set on fire and properties were looted during the attacks. While a brutal civil war in the country's north recently started after a 5-month truce, western Ethiopia has continued to see frequent violent attacks. Other parts of the country have also continued to face recurring violence. Argentina's vice president has narrowly avoided assassination after a gunman's weapon jammed as he aimed at her. Footage shows the moment where she was surrounded by a mob of supporters, found herself face-to-face with the loaded weapon. She was returning home from court where she faced allegations of corruption. Police said the gunman, who was identified as a 35-year-old Brazilian man, has been taken into custody. They are attempting to establish a motive for the attack on the left-leaning populist who was Argentina's president from 2007 to 2015 and its first lady for 4 years before that. President Alberto Fernandez revealed the gun was loaded with 5 bullets but failed to fire when triggered. And now to Palestine, where the official Palestinian news agency says a mass hunger strike by Palestinian prisoners in Israel, which has been set to begin on Thursday night, has been called off. About 1,000 inmates had been due to stage the action in protest of their prison conditions. Israel tightened restrictions in the wake of the dramatic jailbreak last year. The Palestinian Authorities Committee from current and former detainees said prisoners' representatives had decided to suspend the hunger strike after it had achieved its demand. Palestinian prisoners have down the years periodically staged off threatened hunger strike as a tactic to pressure Israeli authorities to improve their conditions. The issue of Palestine held by Israel is one which unites Palestinian society regardless of political differences. Palestinians consider the detainees as political prisoners rather, and many of them have been convicted by Israel of security crimes, including terrorism and murders. And that's KUFM's news around the world. Before we go, a quick recap of the headlines. Africa urged to propose action on climate at conference. U.S. jams during bid to kill Argentina vice president. And finally, Palestinian prisoners held by Israel to call off mass hunger strike. Do remember that the continued unity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. KUFM's News Around the World was produced by Angela Palmer, and I am Esther Mohammed saying thanks for listening. Good afternoon.